Are you in Hawaii, Beverly?
Who?
Are you in Hawaii?
Me? Yeah, sure.
Every week you're in a different location.
The magic.
Gosh.
Where are you at, Stephanie? You in a tent?
You're muted, Stephanie.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're on.
It's wonderful.
Okay, so we're live, right? And we are live.
All right, and right on time. Let's get the meeting started. Dr. McMichael, can you work your magic and put the agenda up on the thing for us? There it is. Yay.
Yep.
All right. Welcome to the June 2nd, 2020 regular board meeting of the Barrow County School System. Ms. Kelly, you have the invocation tonight, so we will start with you.
We pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything that it means to us. Be with us as we conduct the business of the school system, our country, with everything that's going on right now. The pandemic and the riots, and Lord, it's in uncertain times right now, and we just leave it all in your hands, Lord. And I just pray that you be with every one of us as we make hard decisions for the school system tonight. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We're going to need to approve the minutes from the May 2nd and May 26th meetings. I'll need a motion and a second to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, who made the motion? I couldn't tell.
Debbie?
Debbie made the motion, and who seconded it?
I think Dr. Huff.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Huff. I'm sorry,
Yes,
I'm having a little issue with my audio here. So, okay. Is anyone opposed to this? Anything we need to correct? All right, hearing none, then the minutes are approved. Okay, we'll need approval for the agenda tonight.
Can we take, I was the one that wanted to take the bus outsource repair vendors off the consent agenda. I've done my research and I'd like to go ahead and put them back on the consent agenda if that's okay.
Okay, does anybody have any objections to putting that item back on the consent agenda? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll add that to it. Okay. So with that change to the agenda, anybody who's opposed say we can't do that. Okay, hearing none, we're gonna move on. We didn't have any committee reports this month or request to appear before the board. So at this point, we will start with the departmental reports. And Dr. Green, it looks like you're up first with support services.
Yes, ma'am. We did our report during the work session, and unless someone has questions, then I have nothing further for tonight.
Okay, any questions from last week? Hearing none, we'll move right on to Ms. Houston.
All right, so the first thing we want to do is look at our board presentation. And we have great news concerning our sales tax, which is very surprising. We came in at $1,126,086 for the month of.
Awesome.
Yeah, great news.
Great news.
So
Jennifer, I have to interrupt. I just have to tell you, I know why that is, because it's all those Amazon and UPS and postal trucks making all those deliveries all over my neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have contributed to that myself. Yeah.
So stimulus money that came in, everybody's doing home improvements too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And buying toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was really good news for this year. We weren't expecting this. So if you want to go ahead and slide up, we'll do the board summary of our financials for the month of May.
Wrong one.
Sorry, I put it all on one.
Operator error. Jumpy today.
All right, so for the month of May, our fund balance at the end of May was 39,007,436. Total revenues year to date was 134,478,299. Our total expenditures year to date, 118,931,718. And our total revenues for the month of May, 8.4 million, and our expenditures, 10.2 million. So we should, our target is at, I think it's a little over 90%. And so we were over with revenues and under with expenditures, just like always. So that's always good to see. Any questions? All right. So with the next thing I did, I updated our budget timeline, millage rate timeline. So if you want to scroll down to the second page of that. I'd hate to have your job, Dr. McMichael. It's so hard to be
Oh, no.
these presentations.
It's a little technologically challenged, but we'll get through it.
All right, so at the last work session, we decided to approve a tentative millage rate on June 16th, not today, but we'll wait until our work session on June 16th to approve the millage rate, just to see if our revenues come in from the state by then. They may not, but we'll just have to hope for the best. And then tonight, we're going to adopt that spending resolution for the month of July. That gives us the ability to continue with our operations and spend 1/12 of our previous year's budget. So on June 24th, I'm going to advertise our 5-year, this is for the millage rate, our 5 years tax digest and our public hearing advertisements. We will have 2 public hearings on our millage rate on July 1st. We'll have one on July 9th. I will call y'all back in, if that's okay, for a called board meeting on July 13th to approve the final millage rate. We couldn't, with the timing of how you have to advertise and you have to wait a week and everything, I just couldn't get it in by your, I think you have a July 8th meeting or a July 7th meeting, and it just wouldn't, the timing just wouldn't work. So I apologize, but I do have to ask y'all to approve that millage rate on July 13th. And then we'll have it wrapped up with a bow for the Board of Commissioners for their meeting on July 14th. And then we don't know what the rest of the budget calendar is going to look like yet. So we'll just wait and see what the state is able to provide us in the next few weeks. And that's all I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, it looks like Mr. Perno, you're up with our system operations report.
Hey, everybody. I don't have anything to add this evening unless there are any questions about our report from the work session.
Anybody have any questions? Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perno. Okay, next we'll move on to Dr. Moten and the teaching and learning report.
Good afternoon, everyone. There is no additional information from teaching and learning.
Wonderful. Okay. Ms. Beggs, do you have anything for us at this time?
I do not. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. We had several items on here. The first were the security camera RFP that John St. Clair presented to us. Superintendent recommends authorizing the purchase of security cameras from low bid respondent Tech Optics of Winder, Georgia in the amount of $151,632.49. Stop me if you have any questions about any of this. But we've all been over the summaries on this, so I'm just going to move on to the next item on the consent agenda, and that would be the temporary waiver of policy GARK. That is, the superintendent recommends waiving policy GARK specifically to allow employees who have currently accrued more than 30 days to roll those days over through December 31st, 2020. The policy currently will not allow accrual of more than 30 days to roll beyond June 30th. The next item on the consent agenda, the superintendent recommends waiving, wait a minute, the cafeteria tables. Where'd the cafeteria tables go?
E-board is processing.
That's fine. We want e-board to process.
We'll reload it, I think. Yeah, okay. And now it's going to reload the whole thing.
Better too much than not enough.
All right, there we go. Cafeteria tables, right?
Cafeteria tables.
There
yes.
we are. There we go.
Okay. All right. The superintendent recommends awarding the cafeteria bid to Georgia Specialty Equipment and authorize up to $80,062.34 to be spent on lunchroom tables at the newly renovated Westside Middle School and Statham Elementary School and for additional needs in the district. And I will go back and add the bus transportation proposal, bus outsource repairs vendors. We'll add that to the consent agenda too.
Yeah, you got the spending resolution here.
Was that on the consent agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the superintendent recommends adopting a spending resolution for the month of July 2020. Again, you'll know that this is because of COVID-19 and not knowing what the state's going to do yet. So, and then we have the bus outsource repairs. Superintendent recommends approval of the attached list of vendors for outsourcing bus repairs. Does anybody have any questions about any of those items? If not, I'll call for a vote on that. Somebody want to make a motion in a second, please?
Motion.
Motion from
Second.
Dr. Second from Jordan Raper. Okay. Anybody opposed to the consent agenda? Hearing none, the consent agenda is unanimously approved. Okay, now we'll go to the transportation proposal for school year 2020-21. The superintendent recommends removing the two-tier options from the table and requests that the Board of Education approve the study committee's recommendation to adopt scenario 1 as presented. I'll need a motion in a second.
Ms. Stevens, can I ask a question before we move to a motion in a second? I have a question of the superintendent. Or you want to wait till the discussion?
Well, normally we do the motion in the second, then the discussion, but
okay, that's fine.
Is that okay? Okay. I'll need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bailey made the motion and Ms. Krause seconded it. And we'll open this up for discussion. I know we talked about this in the link, but go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. My question is to Chris, to Dr. McMichael. Given the fact that we didn't have the information from the Department of Education recommendation for opening schools this fall, given the coronavirus epidemic and the impact it's going to have on teaching and learning for the coming year, is that changing anything in terms of your recommendation for the transportation issue, Chris? And if not, what do you think? How do you think we're going to open? Have y'all given it much thought? I know the Department of Education has recommended 3 different scenarios as to where we may or may not fit into one of those categories. is up for discussion and debate, but do we know, were we looking at a hybrid kind of education process in the fall, or have you even gotten to that point?
Well, there's possibility. As you said, we received the guidance document, which again, make sure everybody understands it's not a thou shalt. It's here are our strong suggestions, our guidance. We received that Friday afternoon. So we've been digesting that. There's really everything that was listed on there is pretty much what we've already been planning and discussing with. We have executive cabinet. We also have our command meetings. We meet pretty much every day in one form or another. And we've also got a committee that's working on a school opening committee that's made up of folks from across the district. So really everything that the DOE has put out are things we've already discussed, and so we're taking a little bit. There are a few things in there that we're looking at and putting into what we're talking about. Our plan is to have at least plan A, B, and C ready to kind of go as much as possible. When we are at the point, we're not to the point at this point where I'm comfortable saying how we're going to open. What we all want to do is open the first week of August as we have planned, and hopefully we'll be able to do so as close to normal as possible. I don't think we'll be normal by any means, but with kind of the minimal, I think it was tier 1 on the DOE's recommendations. So that's kind of plan A right now. Plan B, we're moving along in the it could very well be a hybrid, could be part of the school comes in at one time, part of the school comes out at another. So yeah, it doesn't change my recommendation at all as far as this goes. But it's definitely something that we're going to have to incorporate in as we move forward. I feel like this recommendation actually probably gives us a little more leeway to make some of those changes where we need to, and to flex and be more nimble moving forward with transportation as we go. Good question. Yeah. But yeah, we had spent a lot to answer part of your question. We spent a lot of time working out.
Well, I know you haven't, and Chris, I wasn't trying to nail you down.
No, not at all. No.
And ask you to tell us how you were going to open schools in August. Because
I would love to be able to tell you.
I knew you didn't expect that, and I wasn't trying to nail you down.
Oh, you're good.
Publicly or not, but for me, it seems like this is just another issue that impacts this decision tonight, because it's another curve thrown at parents and students as to what to expect come August, and it's just complicating lives further and further. I would like to see us think about trying to keep things as close to as they currently are with the transportation system as we possibly can do. Timing could not be worse. This is not a good time to be trying to do anything like this, but unfortunately we can't stop growth. So I know we have to do something.
We just got word of another.
Unless schools just simply don't open and we stay at home. If that were to happen, then this decision is moot. But if we stay at home, but if we open in some sort of a hybrid fashion or fully open, then this is going to make a big impact, especially a hybrid. It's going to make a big impact on them.
And it's a very good point about the growth. We've just gotten word of a very potentially very large subdivision coming in the Kennedy zone, which I'll send you all out some information on. But so it keeps coming, and it's something we have to. Unfortunately, I'd love to be more proactive with it, but a lot of times we have to just kind of be reactive with the growth issues. And,
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Certainly. Okay. Yes.
Chris, I have a question. Depending on how this goes tonight, my question is, listening to what everybody has said, which everybody has had such great input and such excellent points, and obviously, we're all, I'm getting, kind of conflicting opinions, obviously. But, when we talk about the science and the children and the younger children going earlier and the older children going later, I don't disagree with that at all. But I do wonder, in in a world of keeping things as balanced and fair as possible, it's hard for me personally to make a decision based on that science, but say that the students at BASA, that it doesn't apply to them, that they, you know, even though the other high school will start at 9 o'clock, they will still start at 7:30. They will have a very long day. It's hard to justify that to BASA parents, that this study shows that this is what's best for their children, but yet we can't apply that to that school. So in that, in the case that it does happen that we do go with option 1, or that is what the vote leans toward, is there a possibility or a scenario where we as a board can get in the same room, which I think we'll all be really happy when we can do that, and talk to each other and kind of come up with something that's a little bit more balanced? You know, even if it's something as simple as saying, you know, 7:30 to 8 o'clock as a breakfast period. Obviously, I don't think going from 7:30 to 9 o'clock as a free period is a great idea. That seems like that would be a little bit of chaos for the students, but just something that shows, you know, that this science is important to us and that we are trying to apply it to all students at that, you know, high school level. Is that something that we could further discuss, or once we lock this in, are we locked in to accept it as you have presented it?
No, I think again, this is primarily about the transportation, about the buses and these type of things. BASA has gotten kind of unfortunately caught up and kind of become the focal point in a lot of ways.
I know. I
Really
don't like
not.
that.
It's growth that's causing this. It's not so much BASA is being caused, if you will, by the growth.
Sure.
We had to have a third high school. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, schedules at schools are fluid within the time constraints. And I haven't talked with Dr. Simpson, but I'm sure he's always open to working through those type of things. And I definitely think that's something, you know, I can't promise you it would change sitting here right now, but I definitely think we're open to taking a look at it and seeing if there is, you know, a better way to make that work. Because I agree with you. That's one thing that has bothered me with it too, is that it's, you know, it's with BASA, it was either early or late. And
It's hard for me to say, to justify the science, but it doesn't apply to you, you know, and I know we can't fix it. We can't fix it completely. I know we can't, but
it's not perfect either way, but no, I think I would definitely be very, very fine, very open to looking at, you know, other solutions for that piece of it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we agree on tonight, or what we don't agree on tonight. There's still other things that we can try. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that answer. I appreciate it.
And Dr. McMichael, I'd like to ask also, because it was brought up to me, because, you know, I've talked to you several times and I appreciate all the information you and your staff have gotten back with me on. And I've talked to pretty much every board member here. I have to, full disclosure, Ms. Krause, I need to get your phone number. I don't have it. But I have tried to talk and take everybody's concerns into account. I think this has been the most that has kept me up the most trying to do. I've lost sleep over this because I want to make sure that every concern that everybody has brought up, the emails I've gotten, the central staff, everybody, Mr. Green, everybody, I'm sorry, Dr. Green, I try and that's important to me to get the titles right. You deserve that. But everything that everybody, this is so important to me, you know. I've really lost sleep over this one, guys. I want to do what's right here. And it is important to me, and it's weighed on my heart to do what's important here and to be so transparent with you, with all of y'all. And you know, one of the concerns that was brought, Dr. McMichael, to me that I didn't even think about was, you know, why was a board member not put on that initial committee? And so when Dr. Huff just brought up and you said that there's a committee of, I guess, some people in the community looking at these different things, I would just ask that if it's something that's going to come back to us and we ultimately have to vote, just maybe in the future, think about putting some of us so that we can maybe put some of those, our thoughts in there, you know, what about this, what about that, you know, just a thought, you know, so that it can kind of maybe alleviate us going back and forth and bothering you. I feel like sometimes I bother you,
No, not at all.
and trying to say, hey, what about this on the back end of it,
That's what we're here for.
But I do appreciate so much what you and your staff have done to get me, the information. Y'all have done a great job, and I
Like I
appreciate
always say, I don't, one thing this board always has been and always is transparent and very focused on getting to the right answer. And
yeah,
doesn't always make it a clean vote or a rubber stamp. And that's the way I've always liked it. I don't always trust a process that's not open and transparent. So.
It's been a really hard thing for everybody, I think. And I think that's a true testament to the fact that everybody on our board really does care about their constituents, and they care very much about, any disruptions that it's going to cause. If there was an easy answer, boy, would we all really appreciate that. That would be wonderful.
I would have brought it to you, believe me.
Yes, that would be great. And I just, I definitely appreciate everybody's thoughts. And I do believe that there is a way that we can still, after tonight, we can still work together to come up with something that is the very best that we can provide to our families. And I agree with Dr. Huff, it's a bad time. I have a lot of angst about that. It has affected my decision very, very much. But I'm really thankful to be proud. I'm proud to be a part of a system that clearly cares so much that such a decision would make so many of us, lose sleep. And that's no matter how the chips fall at the end of the day, that's a beautiful thing. So I'm really appreciative of it.
I also want to say, I know our committee had a lot of rich discussion, as they say, and they lost a lot of sleep over it too. So it's been a tough one. Again, started back in October, and it's been a tough one to go through, and they've done a wonderful job getting to where they are. But again, like you all, I think we've all said, it's not a perfect time, and there's not a perfect answer to this. We just have to go with what's best overall. So.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comment before I call for the vote on this?
Madam Chairman, I would just, this is Lisa. I would just like to say that I agree with everyone that this is weighed heavy on our hearts. We've lost a lot of sleep over this. We've all asked a lot of questions. We've had a lot of conversations among us with other people, with teachers, administrators, with parents. When I started hearing about how overcrowded the buses were and the situation with our elementary school children, having to wait 45 minutes at the end of the day for a bus to pick them up, the number of kids who need before school care early in the mornings and are not getting home until late in the day, hearing from bus drivers that they're having to wake children up on the bus because they're so tired, hearing from the teachers that they are pretty much checked out by 1:30, 2 o'clock, that there's not a lot of, it's very difficult to have a lot of good instruction at the end of the afternoon. I really became very concerned about the elementary school level. Then I started trying to understand the high school level a little bit more. And I was a little bit surprised that so many high school teachers that I talked with really support the option of going a little bit later. Some acknowledged, maybe for selfish reasons, they like getting out a little bit earlier, but for the sake of the children. Several teachers commented about how many of our kids are working till midnight, 1 in the morning, and how difficult it was for them to be at school and on time and ready to learn. One mentioned the number of tardies for first period. I had another teacher talk about during this time of digital learning, the kids that were behind in getting work because they're having to work so many hours right now to help families out. And I know that this is maybe a tough year to be making this change, but it may be something that may help some families out, some that may not be having before and after school care. And it might be a good time to do this.
Okay.
That's my thought.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments? All right, I'm going to call the question, and we're going to do this by voice vote. Yes is a vote in favor of the superintendent's recommendation. Mr. Bailey,
Do you
Yes.
need a motion?
I'm sorry.
I already had it before
You
the,
already have the motion. Okay. I'm sorry. I
I'm
fell
sorry.
asleep.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand. You want us to vote yes if we vote for the superintendent's recommendation and no if we
No,
vote against.
that's
Perfect.
correct.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Ms. Kraus. Ms. Kraus,
Yes.
okay. Mr. Raper,
Yes.
Ms. Maloof,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly,
yes,
Ms. Bramlin,
No.
okay. Mr. Ritter,
No.
Dr. Huff,
No.
Ms. Stevens, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like it's 6-3, folks. The motion passes.
5-4, I think.
6-3.
6-3? I counted wrong. Sorry. 6-3.
That's okay, Dr. Huff. You're a doctor. You don't have to be a
I
math.
know. My eyes are crossed from counting numbers all day. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. All right, moving on. Let's see where we are. We are to authorizations for committees to meet. I'll need a motion and a second for authorization for committees to meet during the month.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bailey, and who seconded?
Stephanie.
Me.
Stephanie. Okay. Anybody opposed for committees to meet? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. All right. You know your next meeting dates. I hope that by the time we meet for our 6/16 work session, we will be able to do that in person. If not, then at least by the board meeting on 7/7.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
obviously that is dependent on whether things continue to improve as they have. So, does anybody have anything else that we need to discuss? If not, thank you so very much for your attention and for your care and concern for our students. At this point, the meeting stands adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody.
See you. See y'all.
Thank y'all. Good to see y'all. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Night,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks,
Good night.
Dave.
Yeah.